Hello, Matt Patrick Kelly here. Welcome. Today I want to talk about proper pistol grip, some basics, and then also want to kind of deep dive into some things that most people may not know or think about when it comes to proper pistol grip or getting a good grip on your pistol. So let's begin. Let's kind of cover some of the basics. Again, this is my M&P 45 Smith & Wesson. We'll cover some regular basics. It's empty. So first things first, we want to make sure I'm aligned here. We want to make sure this is aligned with the bones of my. I don't want it to be here or here. So very important when wherever your holster is, whenever you're grabbing your gun, you want to make sure you get a good weld here. I don't want to be here. I want to be as far up as I can here, the webbing, and then I want it to be in line with the bones of my forearm here. Okay, so that's the first thing. Whenever I'm grabbing, and whenever you practice and you're practicing your draws, you want to grab in the same place every time. Make it a habit. Chunk if you have to. Just practice grabbing, getting that good first grip. Make sure it's not to the sides here and there. Good grip there. It's in line, and that's my dominant hand. I'm a lefty, of course. And then when you're putting my other hand in here like this, what I want to do is as much skin as possible. I want to have contact wherever there's open space here. So when I'm grabbing here, pressing, okay, and that is a good grip. Now, one thing about this, some people say 60-40, whatever, when it comes to gripping. It's 100%, 100%. So in a high-stress situation, I can't sit here and try to think about, well, is this 40-50 with this hand? Is this 60 with this hand and 40 with this hand? You're just going to grip really tightly, as tight as you can, because in a high-stress situation, that's really all you can depend on. Plus, a lot of people talk about, where your finger is on the trigger, and that's absolutely important. How you press your trigger, but if I've got 100%, if I've got a good strong grip and it's in a vise, a monkey can slap that trigger, and as long as I'm still on target and I've got a good strong grip, my bullet's going to go where I want it to go. One thing that a lot of people don't talk about, and this is kind of a fine-tuning nuance when it comes to a grip. So I'm grabbing, I grip really tightly. I come in here, I take up all that space. But for me, the visualization that I use is I think about a rag. And if I were to wring this rag out, if it were wet and full of water, I want to wring this rag out. That is exactly how, when I grab my pistol, and I usually do an appendix carry, grab my pistol here, take up all that space, and then I'm wringing that rag out. Wring. And that locks in a super strong grip. Boom, boom, boom. Super strong grip. So, get that good weld. The initial grip, make sure it's the same every time. And then when you're coming out, just crank it in. Wring out that rag. And that's how you can get an awesome grip. All right, so some other things to think about when it comes to proper pistol grip, getting a good strong grip. And I'm going to refer to some martial arts here, some martial arts books from some different authors to kind of make my point and drive my point home. But if I were to ask you this question, of these four fingers, which two are the strongest? Most people are going to say these two fingers, your index and your middle finger. And that's not true. It's your ring finger and your pinky finger are your strongest fingers. These fingers right here, my index and my middle finger, are my high dexterity fingers. These are the fingers I use if I'm gluing model pieces together, or I'm I'm trying to do some really fine-tuning, high detail work. That's what these fingers are for. These two fingers are stronger. It's the stronger part of my hand. And you know this if you've ever used a screwdriver and you're sitting there screwing something in, screwing something in, screwing something in, and these fingers wear out pretty easy. And then what do you normally do? Well, a lot of times what you'll do is you'll plant it to your palm heel and you'll finish twisting or tightening that screw in there. And really what you're doing is you're anchoring that to the stronger side of your wrist, the stronger side of your arm. These two fingers right here, okay? If you don't believe me, you can do this at home with a partner. You can grab a pin. If I were to grip here and I was here like this and someone were to put pressure and I'm standing, right? This is going to be weaker. This is going to be stronger. And one of the reasons for that, a lot of people want to know why. Why is that? Because it's the tension along the top. If I'm gripping here with these two fingers, the tension goes along the top part of my forearm, goes into my bicep. The transfer of energy goes into my bicep, 2 muscles, bicep versus the tricep, 3 muscle groups. And then the transfer of energy goes into my shoulder. So whenever I'm gripping here and someone pushes back on me, it's weaker. And if I'm standing there, then I can feel myself kind of rock back on my heels. If I'm gripping with the bottom 2 fingers here as tight as I can, the tension, the force goes along the bottom side of my forearm, and the transfer of energy goes into my tricep, tri versus bi, 3 muscle group versus 2 muscle group, stronger muscle group versus weaker muscle group, and then it goes right into my lats, big muscles on the side of my back. So that transfer of energy by gripping here with these 2 fingers versus the top 2 fingers, the transfer of energy and force, the bottom side is so much stronger. And this comes from martial arts. Miyamoto Musashi, Book of the 5 Rings, wrote this book in 1643 at the age of 60. He was an undefeated dueler, masterless samurai. He dueled more than 60 times to the death and never once did he lose. And it took place between the time he was 13 and 29 years old. And he wrote this book in his 60s, and talking about his martial arts style that he created, that came forth from his martial science and dueling. But in here, he talks about this very technique I'm speaking to. And in the Water Scroll, Book of the 5 Rings, he talks about gripping the longsword. Okay? And he says, in wielding the longsword, the thumb and forefinger grip lightly. The middle finger grips neither tightly nor loosely, while the ring and little finger grip tightly. There should be no slackness in the hand. So what he's talking about here in wielding the longsword, he's talking about exactly what I say as far as these 2 fingers being the stronger ones. The thumb and forefinger grip lightly. The middle finger grips neither tightly nor loosely. The third and fourth finger, the ring finger and the pinky finger, grip tightly. There should be no slackness in the hand from here with that grip. So I don't know about you. The guy probably knew what he was talking about, right? He dueled more than 60 times to the death and never once did he lose. The last thing this dude wanted to do was have a weak grip and lose his katana while he's fighting a duel to the death. So he's talking about gripping as tight as you can with these 2 fingers. What that does in modern society when we're talking about a pistol grip, when we're talking about applying Miyamoto Musashi's grip technique to pistol, what that allows me to do, if I'm gripping here, now I can grip as much as I want with my offhand, but when I'm talking about my dominant hand here, I'm really going to grip as tight as I can with these bottom 2 fingers. And what that does, if I'm gripping and I'm concentrating on that grip here, and I can do it with this other hand here, and then I'm going to squeeze, I'm going to wring out that towel. But what that does is that frees up my trigger finger. So I'm not sitting here just trying to tighten with everything, and now all of a sudden, I'm clunky with this. But again, like I said, if I'm gripping super tight and my grip is a vise, then, a monkey can slap that trigger and I'm still going to shoot where I want it to shoot. But if I'm gripping really good here, what that does is that loosens this finger up for some really fine-tuning trigger work. Okay? And that's exactly what these two fingers do. Your first finger and your middle finger are your fine-tuning fingers. So if I'm gripping super tight, these bottom two fingers here, and I'm wringing that towel out, it just loosens up this finger to do some fine-tuning work, fine-tuning trigger work. Okay, just wanted to kind of take a deep dive on pistol grip and just some little nuances. So again, wring out that towel, get a good pistol weld, hand to pistol weld when you're drawing your holster. When you're drawing it from your holster, grab, wring out that towel, and then really, really, really grip these bottom two fingers. Your ring finger and your pinky finger, it's strong, and then that frees up your trigger finger for some fine-tuning work, which is what it and your middle finger were designed to do. All right, hope this is helpful. A little deep dive into how to grip a pistol properly. We'll talk at you later. Bye.